So today is just a little bit of a rambling of what's on my brain, and it's really more about my situation and where I am right now. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Getting ready to sort of chill and relax for a little bit. And, I was thinking about this. If you think about creation, the Genesis account of creation as recorded in the scriptures, we find that there's 6 days. So on each day, God creates. And, just as a little sidebar, what's very interesting in that whole creation account, before God created man, he created with a spoken word. But when he creates man, he uses his hands. It's a very, very beautiful picture of the effort that was put into the creation of man. But that was just a sidebar. When you think about creation, we have those 6 days, and then on the seventh day, the Bible says that God rested. And to me, that's fascinating, because why would God need rest? By very definition of the term God with a capital G, he would never need to rest. And if a God needed to rest, then he certainly wasn't the God. So, why did God rest? And I think what God was doing for us was showing us a rhythm of rest, setting the example for mankind. 6 days work, 1 day rest, seventh day rest. There's this rhythm of rest that God modeled for us, and that is actually, I think, necessary in our very being. There's a rhythm of rest. In other words, we can't continue to go full bore 24/7, 7 days a week, and expect that we'll never burn out. We're designed and created, and I think made in such a way that we need this rhythm of rest. So it's work and rest and work and rest. And so even during a weekly routine, we have this 1 day set aside where we rest and we focus this 1 day on Christ, on all that he's done for us. There's this rhythm of rest. But I think in a bigger picture, we have to be strategic and know when ourselves it's required for some extra rest. And I don't know what your rhythm is like, but for me, I've discovered sort of what my rhythm of rest is. One thing I do, being a pastor, the weekend is most of the time it's a working weekend. We have services Saturday night, so I work most of the day Saturday, and obviously Sunday we have 2 services, so half the day is chewed up with working there. So Friday is my day off, and so I guard Friday very fiercely. I don't take phone calls for the most part from people from the church, and we have other people that handle the business so that my wife and I can focus on just our relationship and getting our rest during that day and spending time with the family. But at an even bigger picture, here's a rhythm of rest that I've discovered for me personally, and that is in my communicating and in the time and effort that I put into a weekend message, and not to mention other things that happen throughout the week from counseling and meetings and all of these things, I have discovered, and it took me a while to do this, but I've discovered that for me, I can go about 8 to 10 weekends in a row speaking, and that is my absolute max. And by about that time, I'm getting fried, I'm getting frazzled, and I know my mind, my heart, my body just needs some rest. And so what I try and do, even in my speaking, is strategically schedule time off, or just even time where I may be there at the church, but someone else is speaking, because I know this rhythm of rest that God has placed in me, and I figured out what my rhythm of rest is. I got to guard my Friday ferociously, but then I also know in the long-term speaking about 8 to 10 weekends, and then I need a rest. And I'm saying that because I got this rest coming up, so I'm really excited about it. But I guess what I really want to do in this is just challenge you to sort of think about your rhythm of rest. And are you guarding a day? Do you have a day of rest, a day that you set aside where you don't work and you focus on your family, you focus on God, and you really give your body the rest that it's needed? And maybe even in the longer term, you look and see other patterns and rhythm of rest that would parlay into your vacations and how you schedule them and when you schedule them. And again, I think all of this was modeled for us by God the Creator in that account of creation. when we see this rhythm of rest. So that's just a little insight into me, into my world and how I function. And I hope it encourages you and challenges you to think about your rhythm of rest. Have a great, restful day.